F1's governing body, the FIA, has been at the centre of more than its fair share of controversies since Mohammed Ben Sulayem took over at the top of the organisation after the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. He hasn't had it easy, to be fair, dealing with the fallout after 2021 and the loss of an experienced and well-trained race director. At the same time though, the FIA has made some serious missteps since Ben Sulayem took over, and the organisation is starting to strain. F1 bosses are calling for change. Susie Wolff has launched a criminal investigation, and Ben Sulayem has said he's being targeted by the teams as a split between F1 and the FIA grows likelier than ever. Today, I'll be covering all of that and Lewis Hamilton's scathing assessment of the state of the FIA, so don't go anywhere. The most recent questioning of the FIA's handling of Formula 1 has come in the wake of the Australian Grand Prix, with the race direction of the sport once again being scrutinised. The FIA's safety protocols have been questioned after George Russell's calls for a red flag in the wake of his heavy crash at the end of the Australian Grand Prix went ignored. Mercedes driver Russell crashed on the penultimate lap of Sunday's race, slamming into the barrier at turn 6 before his car flipped onto its side in the middle of the Albert Park track. Russell, unsighted, with cars storming towards him and worried for his safety, urged race control to stop the race with a red flag. "Red flag, red flag, red flag," he screamed down the radio. "I'm in the middle of the track. Red flag, red flag. Red, 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 red. I'm in the middle." However, Russell's pleas went unanswered, with the FIA instead ending the race under a virtual safety car, which forces drivers to reduce their speeds by 40%. The section of the track where Russell crashed also saw double-wave yellow flags in motion, instructing other drivers to slow down and take care when driving around Russell's stricken Mercedes. The 26-year-old was attended to by the FIA's medical delegate in his cockpit and checked over back in the paddock. However, some fans online were unimpressed with the FIA's decision not to throw a red flag, with one saying, "Should have been an instant red flag with the car in the middle of the road like that." Another said, "Clearly a red flag in my opinion. The desire to finish the race was put ahead of safety in my opinion. Damn lucky a car didn't hit George Russell's car, which was right across the track." The choice to have a VSC instead of a red flag is being seen as a consequence of the decision-making at the 2023 Australian Grand Prix. Then, a late red flag led to a race restart on lap 57 of 58. Unsurprisingly, the possibility of gaining position so close to the end of the race led to absolute carnage at turn 1, with the two Alpines colliding and ending each other's race, as well as Fernando Alonso being spun around. Eventually, the race was finished with a rolling start after a lengthy red flag to clear the debris from the Alpines. It was as anticlimactic as F1 race finishes come, especially for the fans in the stands. With that in mind, the race directors didn't want a repeat just 1 year on, but considering the situation, perhaps safety should have been considered first before the spectacle. Fernando Alonso was given a 20-second penalty for his apparent role in the incident. He slowed for turn 6 where George went off 100 meters earlier than he had done the lap before, which the stewards considered to be dangerous driving. The two-time world champion protested that he had been nursing problems with his Aston Martin car while trying to keep the charging Russell behind as they battled over 6th place in the closing stages. The penalty dropped him 2 places at the end of the race. Alonso was, unsurprisingly, very unimpressed. He said that if the FIA are dictating how you have to drive the track, then what is the point in having racing drivers? It is a common defensive tactic to slow earlier for a corner to then get a better exit speed and reduce the overtaking options for the car behind you. Speaking about the incident, Aston Martin team principal Mike Crack said, "To receive a 20-second time penalty when there was no contact with the following car has been a bitter pill to swallow, but we have to accept the decision. We made our best case, but without new evidence, we're unable to request a right of review." Crack insisted that 42-year-old Alonso was using his experience to defend against Russell, and stressed that the F1 veteran would never put anyone in harm's way. Fernando is a phenomenal racer, and he was using every tool in his toolbox to finish ahead of George, just like we saw in Brazil last year with Sergio, he added. "This is the art of motorsport at the highest level. He would never put anyone in harm's way. Thank you to everyone who has got in touch. We move forward together." All of this happened in the same week that Susie Wolff launched a legal case against the FIA. The F1 Driver Academy managing director, who is wife of Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff, found herself at the center of a media storm in December after the FIA announced it was looking into a potential conflict of interest between them. This followed a media report suggesting that confidential information had been shared between the pair and that teams had complained to the FIA. Both these counts were subsequently strongly denied. In the wake of a huge backlash over the matter, which included all 9 of Mercedes' rivals stating they had not complained to the FIA, the governing body quickly backed down. Just 48 hours after its initial statement, it said the matter was closed as there was no case to answer and that things did not even warrant a formal investigation. That climb down was not enough for Susie Wolff, who felt that there had already been huge reputational damage done by the FIA in electing to go public and stating that it was even assessing the matter. With no public apology from the FIA over its handling of what took place, Susie Wolff has taken the next step in going to the French courts in a bid to get to the bottom of the aspersions that were cast. In a social media post issued ahead of the Australian Grand Prix, she said, "I can confirm that I have personally filed a criminal complaint in the French courts on the 4th of March in relation to the statements made about me by the FIA last December. There has still not been any transparency or accountability in relation to the conduct of the FIA and its personnel in this matter. I feel more than ever it is important to stand up and call out improper behavior and make sure people are held to account. While some may think silence absolves them from responsibility, it does not." The FIA made things worse for themselves when, after the FIA president Mohammed Ben Sulayem was cleared of race fixing, they said that all complaints are confidential and that the compliance officer and the ethics committee work separately from the FIA. Clearly, that wasn't the case for Susie Wolff though. A press release is probably the least confidential thing possible. It's actually actively trying to not be confidential. After Susie's criminal complaint against the FIA was announced, Lewis Hamilton was asked if Ben Sulayem remains the right person in charge of the FIA and if he still has his backing. "He never has," said Hamilton. "There is a real lack of accountability here, within this sport, within the FIA. There are things that are happening behind closed doors. There's no transparency. There's really no accountability, and we need that. The fans need that. How can you trust the sport and what is happening here if you don't have that?" Hamilton isn't the only person calling on the FIA to do better. McLaren's Zak Brown and Ferrari's Frederic Vasseur have also called on the FIA to become more transparent in the wake of recent controversies. For the 3rd Grand Prix in a row this season, much of the chatter has been about scandals connected to figures away from the 20 men who will climb into the cars and race each other around the world, leaving team bosses lamenting the poor state of affairs. "Look, all the items that have come to light here in recent times are very serious situations," Zak Brown said to the media at the Australian GP. "I think we're living in 2024, not 1984, which means total transparency." While Fred Vasseur agreed that more clarity is needed, his frustrations at the affair detracting from the racing was clear in his language, as he also stressed that the FIA must be given freedom, time and privacy to conduct their own investigations too. He hit out at the journalists looking for comments on the FIA's internal affairs by suggesting that they're commenting on hearsay instead of evidence-based matters. "Transparency is key, and we have to trust the governance for this," Vasseur said to the media at the Albert Park circuit. "But don't ask us to make any comments because we don't have access to evidence. I think to make comments just based on gossips, rumors and so just creates another layer of, I won't say the word because I'll have to go to the stewards. I think at one stage that we just have to trust the governing body. Perhaps I'm a bit naive, but I think that we have to give them the responsibility to do this job." The team's dissatisfaction with the FIA's handling of Formula One has been evident for years now. There will always be disagreement when the sport and the governing body are two separate entities, but the unrest goes further than that. Instead of attempting to calm matters and discuss with the teams and Formula One at large what can be done to improve the running of the sport, Ben Sulayem has instead accused them of attacking him. The FIA president has told the organization's members he is the target of malicious attacks aimed at destabilizing him and the governing body. He believes recent events have unfolded with one clear objective: to target the very heart of our leadership and undermine the foundation of our federation. Ben Sulayem made the claim in a letter to FIA members, portions of which were published by the Associated Press. He said the FIA has fallen victim to malicious leaks of confidential and sensitive information, tarnishing our reputation and causing concern among our members. Mohammed Ben Sulayem's management of the FIA has been a problem for Formula One since he came into power, and the continuous scandals that have surrounded him are becoming a problem for the F1 teams. If something isn't done, then Formula One will take matters into their own hands. What do you think of the issues surrounding the FIA? Is it time for a change of leadership, or should F1 begin managing itself instead? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.